given us. And of course, as they say, we must be glad into it. And we are set now to make sure that we serve you with the best courtesy of whatever content, informative content that is making headlines this morning as far as the dailies are concerned. That is on our first segment of the show. And definitely in the program as well, we'll have our second segment of the show, which will be our topic of discussion. And we'll have a lot to talk about matters to do with our health, simply because every Wednesday, it's all about matters to do with whatever is happening around the health sector. And today we have quite a topic that touches on the grassroots levels. Here we want to understand how the community can engage in matters about health, community engagement into matters about health, And we are talking as we see also the government has rolled out 10 more days for a COVID-19 vaccination campaign. And this campaign has been taken all the way to the grassroots levels. We have community health volunteers together with public health officers are going around sensitizing people concerning the COVID-19 vaccination. There has been targets that are supposed to be met at the tail end of the 10 days. And we need also to understand what are some of the roles that these individuals who walk into our homes that are supposed to sensitize eyes on matters about health, and what is our role, we as the community, what is our role in matters about health, and what are some of the engagements that we can, add into making sure that we have healthy living. So that is what we'll be discussing this morning together with my two guests who understands matters about health and in their capacity as people who sensitize more concerning this. And let me find the names here so quickly. My first guest is none other than Madam Lucy Ngemu, who is the current public health officer in Jomvu constituency, together with Elisha Washe. Elisha Washe is a CHA at Jomvu constituency, the same. And this conversation will be coming your way in the Swahili language that is on the topic afya kwa jamii and ushirikiano wa jamii kwenye maswala ya kiafya, community engagement into matters about health. That is our topic of discussion. And together with you as well from whatever part of the country you're watching us, and those of you who are on Facebook Live, we'd like to get your sentiments about our topic of discussion. What do you feel about our topic of discussion? Do you think that the community is playing its role effectively in engaging in matters about health? How can you advise going forward in line with the community health strategies that need to be used in line with whatever we'll be discussing? So my two guests will be joining me at the top of the hour after I'm done looking at what is making headlines in the dailies today and talking about more over matters about health. Do talk to us using the number below your screen. That the same number, you can find it on normal text messaging or WhatsApp as well. And also you can check it out on Facebook Live. I believe we are up and running. The first segment also is on Facebook, and our second segment also, you can find that on Facebook as well. And on the comment section, you can do so. Share your thoughts, and we will be sampling your views as we get along with the program this morning. My name is SHADRACK, and I'm so pleased to have you on board, and my sign language interpreter is Felix Otieno, and I would like you to walk us through until the tail end of the program as we promise to give you the informative content that we are talking about this morning. Right, now let's get into it, straight into it here, that the front page of the Daily Nation. We started off on the Daily Nation, and looking at the front page of the Daily Nation, if my director can put it up for you to see, KQ and IEBC win big in a 130 billion budget. And we are told here that the national airline gets 26.5 billion for bailout, while the electoral agency gets 8.8 billion for preparedness of the election. And that is what is making headline this morning on the front page of the Daily Nation, as you can see on your screen. That is the Daily Nation. And this is according to the government response to mounting public pressure over high cost of living by allocating 24.7 billion from the supplementary budget to the Ministry of Petroleum and Mining for stabilization of fuel prices. And that is a story on page 7 where we saw how the National Treasury, through the government, through the National Treasury, had to, get a bit of funds from the supplementary budget in line with cautioning Kenyans concerning the high cost of living. But according to a few of those ministries that had gotten some bit of input, we have the Ministry of Defense, which got 15.2 billion. We also have the Ministry of Health, which got 14.95 billion, as well as the National Treasury, 12.49 billion. State Department for University Education getting 8.5 billion, as well as the State Department of Infrastructure getting 7.3 billion. And also we see the State Department for Crop Development getting 5.818 billion Kenya shillings. And there is a slight decrease in numbers, also talking about other state departments, touching on fisheries and blue economy has gotten a decrease, and it's now 4.66 billion. We also have the State Department for Labor getting 1.73 billion, State Department of Livestock 1.29 billion, as well as others. There are quite a list there showing you how things went by as far as that supplementary budget is concerned. But what we can draw out from this article on the front page of the Daily Nation and explained on page 7 is that the KQ and IBC win big in 130 billion budget. Right. And also on matters about politics of the day, below there we see another article that talks about how Ruto goes for NASA's 2017 strategy to beat Azimio. And we're told here the Deputy President William Ruto's UDA party is becoming, or rather borrowing a leaf from the Raila Odinga's National Super Alliance into a way at which he brings a number of leaders from different regions to lead into how they are supposed to craft and campaign. And having appointed Turkana Governor Josephat Nono, this article, there is quite a comparison on how Ruto is using a strategy same as that which the NASA coalition used in 2017. Is it going to work on his favor? That is the big question. That answers you can check out on page 4. But we are now counting days, and we will wait and see how things goes by during the campaigns, and also as we approach DM supporter in 2018. You can check that out on page 6 of the Daily Nation. So those are some of the few articles that have been enlisted on the front page of the Daily Nation. You can read more of that to get updated. Also, we also have that pull-out on matters about financial. And we are told that inside the 1.1 billion NSSF graphic train, and how Kibaki reforms sparked off massive theft and fund. And that is on page 12. And also on page 6 on the same newspaper, we are told that MPs close ranks to save their jobs, and how. Let's look at what is also making headline in the Standard newspaper. So quickly here, I want to touch a little bit concerning the front page of the Standard newspaper. And, I cannot go into more details, but I just want to update you on a few fine details given out here. And looking at the front page of the Standard this morning, we are told that how election year billions were shared. How election year billion were shared. And in a mini budget, Uhuru's government to spend additional 126 billion to prepare for polls, and fight drought and buy COVID-19 vaccination, in a supplementary budget that also pumps in cash to ailing parastatals. And this is a story on page 6 and 7 that looks at how the 126.3 billion shilling supplementary budget has been shared amongst different ministries and parastatals. But what we can report, IEBC got quite a number of IEBC gets quite a huge sum there, that is 8.8 billion, that is supposed to be pumped into the preparedness of polls. We also a number of ministries there, talking about the Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Health, that is supposed to buy vaccinations. And also the Department of Infrastructure, Kenya Airways in itself, got 26.6 billion. We also have Teacher Service Commission through the CBC and its implementation, We also have the State Department of University Education and Crop Development to tame drought situation is on page 6 and 7. That is quite for coverage in relation to how the monies were shared, and we will have this discussion tomorrow on matters about economy, and we will be engaging more concerning this supplementary budget. That is one conversation that you're gonna stick around and watch. But today we will be talking about matters of health. So that is what is playing out on page 6 and 7, and on that is the main story on page 1 of the Standard. And also on the right side of the Standard, there is a picture there showing you how things went by yesterday during the campaign trail of the UDA party. And we see here, this is a picture of Amani National Congress leader Musalia Mudavadi. He was addressing campaign gatherings at Githogoro in Runda, Nairobi yesterday during a joint tour by his party together with that of the UDA led by Deputy President William Ruto. And what we can report out from this article is that internal rivalry threatened to shatter Ruto's new alliance. And yesterday there was quite a confrontation between the Nairobi senator, that is Johnson Sakaja, together with aspiring governor, that is Bishop Wanjiru. And she was heckled by youths who were in support of Senator Sakaja, who is also looking to become governor. And there was some bit of confrontation there. And it's clear now that there is internal rivalries within the new alliance of the Deputy President and the ANC party. But that is quite a matter that we will wait and see how things goes by. But also this happens as we also approach issues about nominations and how these coalitions are crafting ways and planning on how they can conduct their nominations without any sort of fallouts into the election. On matters about education, CBC, no multiple choice questions in grade 3 and 5 tests. That is what is playing out on page 4 in relation to the current tests that are ongoing. And we saw during the Monday, there was a report where that technical hinges and lack of internet as well was quite a barrier and a hindrance into the CBC tests. But today, 5 tests. And also on page 10, where most new voters are as IEBC fails to hit target. And remember, on 6th, that is this coming Sunday, is the deadline for voter registration phase 2. And up to now, what we can report is that the IEBC has not gotten its target. And this is quite a worry, especially looking into how we have a voter apathy and some of the few reasons as to why also this is quite a matter. But and that is what is explained on page 10 of the Standard. You can read more of that to get updated, and you can be sure that we will also keep tabs with some of the developing issues and stories in the country, and we will make sure that we update you on the same, give you all the details concerning that as well. Now, let's move on and matters. Look at what is also making headline in the Star newspaper. And on the front page of the Star newspaper, it serves us with what is happening on the campaign trail. And you're told here, Musalia, Raila in bitter war over Uhuru support. And you're told that the ANC leader claims that government is bankrolling the Azimio la Umoja campaigns. And he is accusing the OGEGA team of being funded by government. But Odinga team says Mudavadi is a beneficiary of state patronage. So there is a clear indication there is some bit of bitter wars and cold war between the two. That is Musalia Mudavadi and Raila Odinga, the Azimio la Umoja leader. And that was whatever Mudavadi said during his campaign yesterday at Runda. And there is a picture there showing you how he was chewing juicy melon in City Market at a campaign stopover. And that is what is also making headline in the page 2 of the Star newspaper. Right. I believe my director has put that up for you to see how beautiful the watermelons are and the fruits there. And let me caution my director not to drool over those bananas. They're just on a newspaper. Right. Moving on, there is a bizarre killing, misery over 25 Yala River bodies, and how there is quite a relation on Luo traditions, and that is what is happening on page 8 and 9. And this sparked a lot of debate in relation to how these bodies were retrieved, and questions have lingered as to what exactly is happening at River Yala. And since then, we've seen the Ministry of Interior trying to dig deeper into that matter, and it has launched the investigations are ongoing, and they have said and promised to give quite an explanation on that matter. But that is a story on page 8 and 9 of the Star newspaper. Now, Lamu midwife dodges bullets to deliver babies in Boni Forest and Boni Village. And this is a story of one lady called Fatma, who is said to be a renowned Lamu midwife who dodges bullets to deliver babies in Boni Village. And this is in line with how, despite having insecurity issues within the Lamu County, but there are few individuals who do great things. And this is quite an inspiring story from the lady known as Fatma, who is a Lamu midwife, who, despite insecurity, she has been on the front in helping mothers deliver babies in Boni Village. So that promising and inspiring story is on page 4 of page 26. Sorry, on page 26 of the Star newspaper. You can check that out and understand what is happening. Now, on the People's Daily. The People's Daily, we are told that change looms as CS set to resign. And we are told here that, yes, we have a number of CSS who are looking into getting into elective positions. And we are told that powerful cabinet teams meets to take stock of Uhuru flagship projects amid uncertainty over departure of some ministers and senior state officials. And among some of the few ministers who are said to be resigning, we have Cicely Kariuki, that is a Water CS, Mining CS John Munyes, Labor CS Simeon Chelugui. We also have Agriculture CS Peter Munya, who is looking to vie for Meru governorship. We also have Charles Keter for devolution, and last but not least, we have Ekuru Yatanyi, that is the National Treasury CS, who is also looking to get into politics. And they are said to be on the verge of vacating office, and that's why there is a looming reshuffling of the cabinet there. But according to this matter, that is playing out on page 4, that is the main story. You can check it out on the People's Daily. And up top there, we see the furious Margaret Wanjiru pointing fingers at Sakaja. And there was quite an ugly spat between the two Nairobi governor's seat contestants. Almost mass meetings convened by Kenya Kwanza leaders to market their new coalition. And this is a story that talks about how Sakaja and Wanjiru clashed at City Rally. You can check that out on page 6. And last but not least, here on the left side of the People's Daily is that high cost of graft as court gives firm ruling. And this is in relation to a graft case. And that is in the fight against corruption that is quite heated in the country. And a school director held over assault. This is the school director of the school at which in Bamburi, if I may find that story on page 9 of the People's Daily. This is a story whereby a class 7 pupil was yesterday, was previously caned after stealing, chapati from a dining hall. And this spurred a lot of conversation online. And the director of the school has since been arrested in relation to that. And that is what is making headline on page 6 of the People's Daily. But we are told here that the Gremon Education Center in Bamburi has been on the spotlight over the class 7 pupil caned thoroughly for stealing extra chapati at dining hall in a school. Right. Now, that story pertaining to having been caned for chapati is a matter that is still developing, and we will wait to see how the questioning of that director of the school will go on and how things will go to pan out. But right now, though, allow me to touch a little bit concerning what is also making headline in the Taifa Leo. Remember, this is the Swahili newspaper, and we must also touch a little bit concerning it before we wrap it up here on our first segment and we get into our second segment. And straight into the Taifa Leo, lazima nikujuze mpenzi mtazamaji, na kwenye ukurasa wa mbele kilichonakiliwa hapa ni kwamba historia ya wafaa Ruto na Raila 50-50, na unaambiwa kwamba chaguzi za urais tangu mwaka 2002 zawapa vigogo wakuu nafasi kubwa ya kuingia ikulu Agosti. Na unaambiwa kwamba majaribio mengi tangu mwaka 2022 yalionyesha kuwa walioshinda walikuwa wamejaribu mbeleni, na japo farasi ni wawili, unaambiwa kwamba hii imewaweka Mudavadi na Kalonzo kwenye kona mbaya, na ugombezi bila mchango wa urais anaondeka ni baraka historia ya mwaka 2022 ikiweza kujirudia, na ni katika harakati hizo za kudadisi masuala ya kisiasa haswa kwenye kinyang'anyiro cha urais kinacho zidi kukita mizizi katika taifa letu. Na kuna picha pale inaonyesha jinsi hali halisi ilivyo, na tayari tunahesabu siku tu kabla ya kufikia uchaguzi huo mkuu. Pale juu, kesi Jumwa alilia kotini. Unaomba kwamba mbunge wa Malindi ataka kesi ya mauaji dhidi yake isikizwe na hakimu badala ya jaji. Naam. Katika ukurasa wa 4, jitwalie nakala yako usomee kiundani zaidi. Alafu unaomba kwamba mabadiliko ya mwelekeo wa magari Mombasa kuanza leo. Ni katika ukurasa wa 4, lazima niweze kuangazia taarifa hiyo hususan kwa wale ambao wanatumia barabara mjini Mombasa. Unaambiwa kwamba maafisa wa trafiki mjini Mombasa leo wanatarajiwa kuwa na kibarua kigumu kuelekeza magari katika mkondo mpya wa barabara za Kisiwani baada ya serikali ya kaunti hiyo kufanya mabadiliko makubwa, na maafisa wa kaunti wamekiri kuwa huenda kukashuhudiwa msongamano kutokana na mpango huo uliobandikwa jina 22/2022 ukakatiza uchukuzi unapoanza kutekelezwa. Na haya ni kwa mujibu wa waziri wa uchukuzi, ujenzi na miundo msingi katika kaunti hiyo ya Mombasa, Bwana Tafik Balala, ambaye alisema mfumo mwingine uliokuwa umezinduliwa awali ulio maarufu kama happy hour sasa umefutiliwa mbali. Unaambiwa kwamba pia kutokana na jambo hilo ni kwamba leo saa 11 asubuhi Kisiwani barabara ambazo zitaathirika ni kama vile Digo Road, Ronald Ngala, Jomo Kenyatta na Sheikh Abdallah Farsi, na wale ambao wanatumia barabara hizo wanaambiwa kwamba kutoka katika daraja la Nyali magari yote yatatakana kuelekea upande wa kushoto ili kuingia barabara ya Sheikh Abdallah Farsi badala ya kwenda moja kwa moja kuelekea Sabasaba. Hakuna tena kuingia moja kwa moja kuelekea Sabasaba kutokana na maelezo haya ambayo yamenakiliwa hapa. Na kwa msingi huo pande zote mbili za barabara eneo la Buxton zitatumiwa na magari yanayoingia mjini. Naam. Bila shaka nafikiri taarifa hii ili uweze kuelewa zaidi tutahakikisha kwamba kupatia picha kamili na wanahabari wetu watafanya kazi hiyo. Lakini wale ambao wanaelewa barabara hizo wanafahamu haswa ni nini ninachokizungumzia. Mwisho kabisa, mwalimu wanaswa baada ya mtoto kupigwa kikatili. Unaambiwa kwamba polisi katika kaunti ya Mombasa wamemkamata mwalimu mkuu wa shule ambapo wanafunzi wa darasa la 6 alipigwa kinyama kwa madai ya kula chapati nyingi kupita kiasi, ambapo unaambiwa kwamba kisa hicho kilikemewa vikali haswa kutokana na ukatili huo. Na kamishna mpya ataka matumizi bora ya mali ya umma. Huyu ni kamishna mpya wa kaunti ya Mombasa, Bwana Lucas Mwanza, ambaye ametoa wito kwa idara ya serikali na taasisi nyinginezo kutumia vyema rasilimali za umma kwa manufaa ya wananchi. Mpenzi mtazamaji, hizo ndizo baadhi ya zile taarifa zimenakiliwa katika habari za Pwani. Kwa hivyo jitafutie nakala, usome, uelewe zaidi kuhusiana na mambo hayo. Na usisahau pia shughuli ya kinyang'anyiro kile cha AFCON kinaendelea kule, ambapo Burkina Faso wamesonga mbele kimiujiza kwa hisani ya sare ya mbili za 1-1 na mikwaju ya penalti na 1-0, ikiwemo dhidi ya Tunisia katika robo finali Jumapili. Na unaambiwa kwamba Senegali hawajashindwa na Burkina Faso katika mechi 4 zilizopita tangu timu hizo zikutane mwaka 2016. Taarifa hizo ni taarifa zinazohusiana na masuala ya kimichezo. Kwa hivyo tafuta nakala yako katika ukurasa wa 26 kule mwisho, ni katika ukurasa wa 19, sukumradhi, ni katika ukurasa huo wa 19. Kwa hivyo jitafutie nakala uelewe haswa masuala hayo ya kispoti. Lakini usisahau kwamba tupo na weledi wa spoti hapa ndani ya studio pia, ambao ni Bwana Zewedi wakiwa na mwenzake John Vincent, watakuwa wanakujuza mambo hayo yote ya kispoti. Lakini mimi sina la ziada ila kusitisha rasmi uchambuzi wa magazeti asubuhi ya leo. Kumbuka mpenzi mtazamaji, langu ni kukugusia tu, na wewe tafuta nakala, ukae chini na usome. Na kutokana na kwamba baadhi ya hizi taarifa zinachipuka, ni tutatafuta jinsi tutakavyokujuza kadri ya jinsi siku itakavyosonga mbele kwenye misururu ya taarifa zetu hapo baadaye. Lakini kwa sasa nikukumbushe tu mjadala wetu wa siku ya leo utakuwa na uhusiana na masuala ya kiafya, ambapo tutakuwa tunazungumzia kuhusiana na jukumu na ushirikiano wa jamii katika masuala ya kiafya. Ushirikiano wa jamii katika masuala ya kiafya. Unaambiwa kwamba endapo tutawaachia wahudumu wa afya na maafisa wa afya nyanjani jukumu lote, basi huenda tusiwe sawa kiafya. Ndiposa lazima kuweze kuwa na mbinu ya kuhakikisha kwamba ushirikiano upo, na kwamba ushirikiano huo unazaa matunda bora katika kuhakikisha kwamba wananchi haswa walioko mashinani wanapata huduma za afya kikamilifu, na pia wanapata jumbe na masuala yote yanayofungamana na kiafya. Na ndio mada ambayo tutaweza kuwa nayo, na nitakuwa nazungumza na maafisa wa afya ambao watakuwa nami hapa studioni kueleza zaidi kuhusiana na ushirikiano huu na ni mbinu zipi ambazo wanazitumia. Na wale ambao hawaelewi mbinu hizi, tunazungumzia kuhusiana na community health strategies. Hizi ni mbinu ambazo